as you're aware, the businesses across the globe, they're experiencing challenges from supply chain disruptions, RTI shortages, increasing resin, which is needed to make some of these plastic crates and pallets, and lumber costs to also for pallets, they're rising. And more recently, recession fears, slowing economy, sort of this perfect storm across the board. The question is, what has been the response to these overwhelming challenges we're experiencing? And is it going to get worse before it gets better? Where does digitalization play a role here? And Pat, we'll turn it to you for kicking us off. How is this affecting your world?
Well, the bottom line is the world is in a volatile place at present. Be it global warming, be it political unrest, or it be, as you say, availability of materials. And once you start looking at that and looking how some people have had to change their supply chains, how they've had to look at the materials they've got, and again look to the future to say we can't just throw it all away. That's not the way anymore. So suddenly the whole mindset in the world is going to change. So how do you overcome that? Well, pooling, to be clear, will become an essential part of the world. You see cars that are actually now essentially becoming a pool item, as much as you see returnable packaging. I laughed in the discussion and said a simple can like this at some point in the future will also become a trackable asset, and it will need some sort of serialization. So you have to find a way to do that. And the benefit is that people like ourselves are able to make our pools more efficient, which means our customers can actually get greater value from that side of it. And that value is coming, as Josh said and as Sandeep said, from that insight that we previously didn't have, that somebody may want, be it within a store, be it within the production, be it in another part of the supply chain. Even something to know that the right goods were manufactured in the right place and delivered to the right store. So we have to start looking at that, and people have to actually see where the world is moving and have to come on board. It's the only way that is going to allow us all to work together to a more sustainable future. And yeah, effectively, pooling and digitalization are an essential part of that.
Thank you, Pat. Josh, same question. What are your thoughts here? What are we seeing in the marketplace as far as recession fears? What has been the response, and where do you see this going?
Yeah, it's a key topic for us that certainly is an important one for us to discuss now and take the lessons learned from now and continue to reinforce those as we move forward. For us, it's definitely wanting to better understand our own supply chain and then that of our customers. And so with that specific knowledge, we can take these informed actions to drive these efficiencies. So it goes back to something Sandeep said in the last one and Pat for sure. And that is, we can do more with the data that we are capturing at the moment. If we look at from a fresh food supply chain, having an active device that's telling you what its status is at any given time through its journey throughout the supply chain, you can make an informed decision. So if I put my warehouse hat on, when that product is in transit or it's hit my dock and I'm ready to receive it, I'm looking to either put it away or immediately cross-dock it to a store shipment, we can take those steps and we can cut some of that wasted time out of the process. So from my perspective, it's continuing to drive efficiencies, especially now when we're always seeming to be discussing shortages within the supply chain. So this is just another opportunity for us to refine our process and better serve the end customer.
Thank you, Josh. And Sandeep, Brambles, it goes a little beyond RPCs and it covers a wide range of reusable packaging as well as a range of industries. Are you seeing similar things out there, or what's your take?
Yeah, I think recession fears are well known, and I think in my view, it presents an opportunity for companies to really reorient, especially for us, continue with the digital plan on the digital journey, and come out more more strong and with more capabilities and more services to offer to our customers. I think you touched on recession, but prior to that was inflation. I think the core commodities which we were badly hurt, like lumber inflation was extremely high, which is core to our assets. I think lumber went from something like 400 board feet to 1,500. Now, recession would reset a lot of these price levels. So I think in part, I think it will make the pooling industry and Brambles as well more stronger. I think our focus continues on the digital, and we are committed to this journey. So
that's great insight. And just thinking about what you said also, and where does we had pallet shortages. That was a big deal recently, and we know that was maybe an aspect of over ordering possibly, and we know that supply chains were squeezed, and I think a lot of companies had to pivot there. But and I'm sure in the RPC world as well, things are happening there. What I guess, is there challenges also? Is this where track and trace comes into play? Another buzzword that we hear about now, but is this more of a focus?
Yeah, I think if you look at the onset of COVID, it disrupted supply chain, and especially on the consumer discretionary products, right? They were just going through the roof. I think the demand for these products. So I think with similarly, we were seeing a strong surge in our pallets. Now, digital definitely presents an opportunity. I think to track where the pallets are. I think with real-time insight. So there were some assumptions maybe on our customer side which related to the supply of our pallets to them. So they could be considered more like holding on to the pallets much longer than they typically would. So I think if digitization again presents an opportunity to talk to our customers and get a better understanding on how they are seeing such disruptions and how to mitigate a lot of these things.
Right. Yeah. Just really, if you think about it, it's managing inventory, making sure that again nothing moves right without a crate or a pallet. Any additional thoughts from Josh or Pat?
I think it's similar to Sandeep. We've all got to look at how we can do things better. It's as simple as that. In terms of availability, one of the key things, of course, of pooling, if you're a good pooler, you make sure you never have a problem with availability. But you have to be smarter in doing it as more customers come to you, as the market grows. And you don't want to create more assets because that's not doing the best thing. So by digitalizing, by getting that insight, just by being able to take out a manual process and automate it, it means that you can make yourselves more efficient, means you're delivering, what we actually need, because it's not just about creating cost by adding IoT and by adding traceability. It's actually creating that value that gives value back to the customer. So we've got to look at it very clearly, look at where the wins are for everybody, and find them, because we won't know all of them ourselves. We will find those with our customers, because sometimes they have great insight, but they get that great insight from the data that we can provide. So, something to grow on.